Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. So today we are going to continue the podcast. We're going to do the next 10 minutes. Let's go. I think the last thing they were doing, they were talking about food. This is the last, or this one is happening before Halloween. So I just want to say my little tips. Individually packed candy is your best friend during this time if you do plan on partaking. If you don't plan on partaking, you want to be super strict. I've heard a lot of good things about baked apples. And if you want to be bougie, I would make some homemade caramel. I say caramel, but I would make some homemade caramel. It's bomb. Anyways, that's my little cheesy suggestions to make you gaslight yourself into feeling like you're actually having stuff this Halloween. I'm just kidding. No, you guys saw, I don't know if you guys saw, but I bought like a big, huge bag of like 60 individual candy corn. And to me, I love candy corn, and candy corn is very Halloween. And I can kind of have it throughout the time, like throughout this whole week, and then next week, like I can just have it piece by piece and I'll feel very fall-y, I don't know, autumny. And that'll be enough for me. I just love it, and I feel like I'll be satisfied during this process of getting out of the deficit. It helps too because it's 2 packs for 100 calories, very easy to track, and I love it, and I'm glad I did it. So yeah, those are just my little suggestions. Let's get into this.
A flour salt mixture on top. It makes it like this little like crispy topping. It's really good. But anyways, yeah, he's prepared for a white family Thanksgiving, and he's gonna have to get ready for it. But yeah, so our Thanksgiving is we always do that, and then we go to my brother's house for desserts in the evening, and that's the more extended family. So Thanksgiving is immediate family without my brother's family because they go to his wife's family, and then we see them for the dessert thing. They're moving that to the next day now. So we're going to change it up. I'll probably bring an appetizer because you can only, I don't know, I only want so many sweet things. So
yeah,
I might do an appetizer. But yeah, my thing that I always make is like the yams dish.
Okay.
And it's because it's my favorite dish.
Yeah.
And one year my mom didn't make it and did Publix. So to take it back, I had it.
I love yams. I love them. I love marshmallows. You guys know I have a thing for Peeps. It's been known. I haven't talked about it as much because I haven't really had Peeps much in diet culture. It's just not enough. But you know damn well I will this Easter. Absolutely. Peep season actually starts the day after Valentine's Day, for the record, if you guys needed to know. But anyways, we don't need to get into that. All I'm saying is I love marshmallows so much, and so I love the yams with the marshmallows. Absolutely adore. We put orange juice in ours, and I love it. And it's that little citrusy vibe. And of course, butter. Of course. Gotta put the butter in it as well. We put plenty of butter.
If I want it there, I gotta make it, right? So now my mom contributes the canned cranberry sauce, which actually we do prefer over real cranberry sauce.
100%.
No, we make real one. Real one. I can't even talk. I think I might have a migraine, or I might be about to get one. So if I slur my words, I promise it's because of a migraine. I'm not like drunk or anything. But no, we make real cranberry sauce, or my mom does anyways, and I love it, and it's good. I love cranberry sauce. I know it's like somewhat polarizing. I seem to like a lot of the polarizing things, like candy corn and cranberry sauce. But I'm just a polarizing girly. I don't know what to tell you. Girly pop.
However, if you give me the canned cranberry sauce that doesn't have the can lines and it's that whole cranberry bullshit, absolutely
No,
not.
I want to see the can ridges.
Crime.
Yeah, I want to see the can ridges.
No.
I want to see the can ridges, and she's going to provide the gravy. So go, Mom. We like exactly what you contribute.
Okay.
I love
Gravy is a hot commodity at my house. And I didn't
Okay.
realize it was such a thing until Billy started coming over for Thanksgiving.
I can't
And
wait for this because I have another debate to talk about.
So me and my sisters apparently bathe in gravy to the point where Billy now, whenever we have a meal with gravy, it doesn't matter if it's the holidays or not, Billy will make sure that him and my dad get the gravy before it comes to us because there won't be anything left.
Oh my God.
My mom's like, my mom will make more. It does not matter how much more you make. The gravy is going to the Koya girls. we throw down for some gravy.
I don't really have gravy because gluten. I know I'm one of those. I wonder if there would be a way that I could make it. Maybe this year I'll try to invent some way or find some way to do it where I could have it. But I think for members, I might talk about some of my like hypo switches that we do. That might be an interesting video for members. But yeah, there's certain things that I do shift a bit. But I don't really have gravy very often. I kind of miss it, to be honest, but I haven't had gluten in forever. So I'm somebody that I just I haven't had it. I haven't had bread consistently since 2014, 2013. Isn't that crazy? But I'm just so used to it. I'm so used to not having it now.
Love
I
that.
only like the KFC gravy on their mashed potatoes. Otherwise, I don't eat gravy.
Why are you talking about KFC? For those of you who
Pre-party today.
yeah,
Oh my
Rebecca
God.
literally just walked into the studio with a small thing of cold mashed potatoes
Listen,
and
I
gravy.
fucking respect the shit out of it. Rebecca always comes prepared with snacks.
I know.
So I'm gonna get into like my ex-family traditions of what we
Ooh.
always made. But I have a question.
Please.
Stuffing or dressing?
I always called it stuffing.
Oh, I've never heard dressing. We've only called it stuffing.
Okay, so
I call it stuffing.
I think, is your family from, no, your family's from here, right?
My parents grew up in Michigan.
Okay, all right. So it has to be a northern thing. It has to be a northern thing.
Probably
Because
is.
my family calls it stuffing, your families call it stuffing. Everybody down south, it's dressing. They call it dressing.
I've never heard that.
Dressing
I
is for
heard it.
salads, and that's liquid.
100%. But they call it dressing, and it's like dressing is not made. They don't put it inside of the bird. It just cooks outside of the bird, and it's stovetop. But like, but I've seen it. Like, I mean, for years it's been stuffing or dressing, stuffing or dressing. It's fucking stuffing, and I will say that I feel like
I usually have to do some kind of modification, obvi, gluten-free. We love ruining the fun of Thanksgiving with tons of modifications. It's my favorite thing. Just kidding.
my mom's stuffing is probably disgusting when you think about how it's made, but it tastes so good. It tastes so good. And it's really just so easy. But like it's wet bread. It's like wet
Yeah.
bread that you ball it up, you throw it in a pan, but there's so much butter and garlic and paprika and oh my God, it's delicious. And celery and the onions and everything. Oh my God. But I would always every year I would always help with Thanksgiving.
We've often had cornbread stuffing. I love it. I love stuffing. I do.
I was always
I like Thanksgiving, though, a lot. I like Thanksgiving food a lot. So, I don't know.
because I never really had like a normal like 9 to 5 job. I was either in the restaurant industry or I was in real estate or whatever. I was always the one that was available the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So I always did like I helped to the meal prep the day before. So we did the stuffing, we did the mashed potatoes. Oh my God, the mashed potatoes, insane. So much Parmesan cheese, so much sour cream, so much butter. Oh my God, insane. So fucking good. But my specialty on Thanksgiving is my chocolate pecan pie.
Which I still haven't tried yet. And
I usually have done the desserts, too. It's kind of funny. I usually do it. But I like pumpkin pie. I'm kind of a basic Thanksgiving person. I love pumpkin pie. I do. I would like to try sweet potato pie. I think I've had it before, but we typically don't have it, but I like it too. But I like that kind of just very autumny vibe. To me, it's very like autumny Americana. I really like it. I like. Maybe I should make a sweet potato pie. I'm obsessed with sweet potatoes. I think I should start having them. Maybe that'll be my big thing in November. Is I'll start having more of them. But I love them. They're really good to me, anyways. I like them. I like them.
I'm gonna make them this year. I'm gonna borrow one of your kitchens. I'm gonna make them this year. But I'm not gonna cry right now. That actually started with my dad. Ever since I was little, that was the one thing that my dad loved to make every year. And he would make them for Thanksgiving. And I think as soon as I was like tall enough to help him, I would start helping him, and I would help him crush out the pecans, and then I would help him lay the pecans on top because there's a very intricate little pecan pattern on top. And I love doing it with him every year. And then it got to a point that
So within the toxic ritualistic, I have to talk about this, of course. Food is not just food. So it's also a way of connecting. It's the same thing with talking about our bodies. That's a way of connecting to others. And you can see it on her face. Like, she's absolutely glowing talking about making this food with her dad. It's very much a connection point. And I do think that food can bring people together and blah, 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 of course. Like, I understand the Hallmark card of it all. But also, too, there are many other ways that people can be brought together as well that don't involve food, which I think are often downplayed a lot in conversations about fatness. And, like, for example, activities can bring people together. Hobbies can bring people together. Even systems of belief can bring people together. Your favorite artists, like the Swifties, with all the friendship bracelets and stuff, that can bring people together. Like, there's a lot of things outside of food that can bring people together, a lot of things that can connect people that don't rely on that. And I think it's not so much that people are wrong for connecting with food. It's wrong if food is the primary connection or if it's one of the biggest aspects of connection. That's where it's a problem. And you see that a lot in the toxic ritualistic. Like I said, it's usually we're doing this diet together. We both hate our bodies, or we're indulging or being bad with a certain food. And that's, again, it's something that normal people do as well, but it's like it can go to like another level, basically. It can become like too much within the toxic ritualistic. It's something to consider. Am I leaning too heavily on this in how I connect with others or how I connect with my family members, especially? Am I leaning too much on this? It's just something to think about. It's not something to freak out about or get all extra about, but it's like, oh, maybe I can fill it in with other stuff. Just think about it.
he couldn't do it anymore, and so I did it for him. And it's so funny because we have this one cookbook that the recipe came from. Literally, that is the only recipe we've ever used from this book. And when I open this book, I still have it. When I open it, immediately opens to that recipe because that's the only recipe that we've used. Yep. It's so fucking good. It's so good. But yeah, that was my dad's favorite. I love it.
Food becomes memories. Food becomes nostalgia. Food becomes a lot of these different things. Food is also routine, right? You have to consider these things and how heavily are we leaning on that. It's not a big deal to do it on Thanksgiving. It's not a big deal to do it one day or whatever. But if it's something that's happening daily or all the time, especially as, again, I really liked Honey Bison's video on Halloween candy where she talked about the nostalgia of Halloween candy. Like, are we leaning on that too much? Are we putting too much into the food? And is there a different way to get nostalgic? Like, maybe we could put on a song or something from that time when we were younger. Or, it's not necessarily that nostalgia is wrong, but maybe there's another way. Like, just think about these things. It's not the only way. And I think that people in the toxic ritualistic, get caught up in leaning on it for everything. And that's something I'm just wanting you to consider if you struggle with these issues, or if you observe somebody who struggles with these issues, see how much they're doing that they're leaning on food for emotion, or food to elicit an emotion, or food to, food for something other than physicality, other than fuel, or other than just a simple pleasure of like, oh, I really like this baked apple. It tastes really delicious. And then that's it, Like if it's beyond that, like if it's like, oh, I want to make this baked apple to connect with the family member who has passed, or I want to make this baked apple to feel like I did as a child. That's where I'm like, you're putting a bit too much into it. And I'm just using the baked apple as an example because I don't want to focus so much on the dieting aspect, just the actual function of what's being done with the food. And just consider that. Because again, within the toxic ritualistic, what we can tell ourselves is comfort eating or comfort food can actually end up becoming, again, a whole ass ritual. The toxic ritualistic, it can become almost religious. I've told you guys that I think the toxic ritualistic is like a cult. It's a belief system. It's a system of belief. So if you're making food like it's some kind of religious experience or ritual, it's a problem. So I'm just saying to just look at that. Again, I think it's normal to be nostalgic or whatever, but it's from the normal person, the nostalgia and the connection, food is just one piece of a whole pile of things. For the toxic ritualistic, food is the only thing there. And that's what I'm trying to distinguish, or what I want you guys to think about. That's all. So it's not wrong to do that, but it's wrong to exclusively do that, to use only food for that entirely. It's the same thing where if you're bullied or whatever, and the only thing you care about is when somebody said something about you being fat, and you don't care about anything else. People can be bullied for so many different reasons. And if that's the only one that you remember and you forget everything else and that's all you cared about, it's the same thing. That's where you're getting into a toxic ritualistic thing, where you're fixating on one thing, one aspect, one part of this. And it's just something to think about if you have this problem. How often am I doing this? And just be wary of that is all I'm trying to say. Because I could see it in her face and everything, the way she's talking about it. It's like, okay, I wonder if she has other things where she connected with her father over, because they're both not very active. There's all these different things that I consider and I think about, and I'm like, And if that's the only connection point, then of course it's going to be activated a lot, because it's totally natural to want to connect to a family member. And if the only way you feel like you can connect is food, then that's going to be a problem. It's going to create a massive imbalance.
Yeah, super special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you made it last year and sent it to James, and I was like, oh, lucky boy.
Did.
Yes.
I did. I sent James a whole bunch of treats last year. I made him, well, I think for Christmas, actually, I made him cookies, I made him brownies, I made him chocolate chip banana bread, which I need to make for you. I made him the chocolate pecan pie.
Imagine being able to
I
build
wonder
an
if
app
that's
with
how
your
she connected to a lot of different people, or connects, I guess I should say. I don't know why I said it in past tense. But yeah, because I'm just saying to question it, not that it's bad or evil or horrible. It's just something to consider is all.
I think this is really what's at the core of why this is important to talk about.
Yeah.
Because, like I said before, the table is part of my family's culture.
Yeah.
We sit and gather and connect at a table.
Mm-hmm.
We sit and gather and connect through food.
Right.
And I think the important...
Yeah, and I'd argue maybe exclusively, or almost exclusively, which I think a lot of toxic ritualistic families, they don't consider that. That's not right. That's not healthy. That doesn't make sense. And obviously it's a spectrum. It could be you connect other things as well, but you connect super heavily on the food, right? That could be something where it's like it's super heavy on that and it's not as balanced. Like try to think about it as like a balance, you know, because so much of recovery is just being normal around food. It's just striving to be normal, which is just like, it's not horrible to connect over food, but it is horrible to almost exclusively connect over food or to have it be the most important thing in your family all the time. It's an imbalance. It's just not balanced is all.
Of talking about this is to do away with the shame.
Yeah.
There should not be any shame about enjoying a meal that comes once a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or even if you have it more often throughout the year, it is a special time when we are gathering with others. And like the holiday spirit, like it is an energy, it is palpable, it is something we talk about, right? So I think for this next part of the episode, let's really talk about how we hold on to that holiday spirit. How do we hold on to allowing ourselves to enjoy the food and keep the joy that we want in our space and not allowing others' thoughts and beliefs to affect the way.
I think it's important to understand too that the holidays are not all about food. Like Halloween, for example, it's a lot of friendship stuff. It's about going out and doing things or taking your kids or, doing the trick-or-treating thing, having a little family get together. It's, for me, a lot of times I spend Halloweens alone. I'm living that lesbian auntie lifestyle. So I spend it alone with some food or whatever. And, maybe some years I have wine or something, but I don't like to club and all that. Again, I don't like to do all that. And I don't even know if there'd be anything here. But even when I was younger, like I would go out with my friends and stuff. Some years we do like Halloween horror nights. I loved it. I love horror movies. Like I like all that stuff, but it's just, I think of like Halloween for me, it's typically like, it would be a time where I would indulge. Like, it's like an indulgence time. And when for example, in 2023, I was impoverished. I was working all the time, constantly. I was so sick. And it's like I never really had time for things. And my work is slow on Halloween, too. So I often take the holidays as like a day off, basically, which I know that's kind of crazy, but I haven't had the best work-life balance. So I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm so sad on Halloween. I'm not. Like, I'm usually fine. But, like, I went to go see the Eras Tour movie on Halloween. And I joked about it, and I was like, I'm going to go see the Satanist Eras Tour. I was just kidding. But it was kind of like a bit I was doing with my friends and stuff at the time. And, I'm going to see Taylor Swift's Satanic Witchcraft on Halloween. And I enjoyed it a lot. And it's like my time to do something that I typically wouldn't do or that I can't usually. And for me, like that was an indulgent thing that was nice at a time when I didn't have any money and I could just spend the $19.89 to go do that on Halloween. And it was just what I wanted to do. And that's not necessarily food, you see. It's like there's kind of a spirit behind it. As well, like for me, you guys know I'm an astrological girly pop and I'm Scorpio rising. People that you guys know about like risings and stuff. The first day of my yearly cycle, like when the sun hits this is getting so deep, but I'm just going to tell you, look at how I'm not mentioning food. Okay? That's what I want you to think about. the first day the sun goes into my first house, which if you're not an astrological girly pop, you're not going to know what the hell I'm talking about, is the 27th of October. So Halloween for me, it also typically coincides with a new beginning for me. So it is a time personally where I think a lot of catalyzing events or things have happened around Halloween due to that, due to the Scorpio rising, due to that aspect. So I also tend to think about the next year ahead during Halloween as well. And I view it as like a kind of a purging time of like dark negative energy and all that stuff. I mean, I know that's a lot, but I think about it that way because usually October is when a lot of stuff is dredged up for me. So that's kind of how I think about Halloween. So that's a really weird thing to say, but notice it's not as much just about the food. Yes, the food is an aspect to it, but I like to carve the pumpkin too. Like, I like the smell of it. I like that tangible experience using my hands to create something. I like to do that on Halloween as well. I really love it. And, you know, but other than that, like, I kind of, I'm going to go to Nashville with my friends next week and we're going to do a ghost hunt and stuff. Like, I like spooky stuff in general and I like horror movies. I like all that stuff. So we're going to do that. We did that in Austin as well. And I'm going with Lisa and Eric again. And I loved it. I really loved it. I love that stuff. So to me, like, I kind of do Halloween year round in a way, but it's like, I do like it, but it's kind of a chill time. But notice how I'm not mentioning food. Look at how much outside of food I'm talking about here. And I know for so many people, Thanksgiving is also about gratitude. It's about giving thanks. It's about a feeling of harvest. It's about all these different aspects that are not just the food. The food is a major part of it, but it's not the only part of it. It's a time where I typically will think about what I've accomplished throughout the year. As we're getting towards the end of the year, we're approaching a capstone moment. And it's something where I consider, what have I accomplished? What am I thankful for this year? What has God given me this year that I'm grateful for? What have I been through? What have I, survived, etc. You think about these things. And then Christmas is a very religious holiday for many, many people in the world. And the vast majority, I would say, are like a majority of people. And that's not the food. It's a very spiritual occasion. And Christmas is also not just about food. You could also think about the gifts, the presents. You could think about the lights, just how it looks and feels. It's about finding hope in darkness. It's about family. It's about, one of the things that my mom told me years ago, because when I asked a lot of people what they felt Christmas represented, and my mom told me, she's like, Christmas is basically like we all survived another year. It's about the fact that we made it through another year kind of thing. And I just really liked that. And I never forgot that. And because of that, sometimes Christmas can be sad because we don't always have everybody for the Christmas. You know what I'm saying? But it means something. And it's not just the food. You see how much I'm mentioning that isn't the food? For me, it's putting up the Christmas tree, looking through all of the memories. My grandma does these ornaments that are individual. I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it, but it's the deficit brain. Just, you're going to have to deal with me. But my grandma does these ornaments every year, and it's like I have all these different ornaments, and I can remember all these different times in my life and all the things that I like. Like, I loved Pooh Bear when I was a kid, and there's a lot of Pooh ornaments. And I had my cat that I was obsessed with my cat, and so there's tons of ornaments that look like I had two cats, and they look like my two cats. And it's like I have like all the Taylor Swift ornaments and from the Red era on, and which is when I became a Swiftie. And it's like it's all those memories, but it also has a lot of things that didn't pan out. It's like I used to call the Christmas tree the Boulevard of Broken Dreams. Basically, it's like all these things that didn't work out. Like all these things I'd hoped for that didn't work. Like it's kind of funny. It's kind of dark, but kind of funny. But it's like, it's our lives as a family. It's our lives on that tree. And I enjoy the ritual of going through the ornaments and putting it up and doing all these things. And I will continue those traditions for my whole life. And notice how much that isn't the food. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the food, but you cannot just only care about the food. You need to think about things outside of it. For some people, Christmas is caroling, Christmas is rushing, it's the mad rush. For some people, it's the Black Friday sale. For some people, it's the deeply religious ceremony. It's church. It's all these things. It's so many things to so many people, and it's like, it's not just the food. The food is a part of it, and that's okay, but it's not the center of it. And I think that that's where we have to get. That's what we have to understand. And holidays are what we make of them. Holidays are a time of rest for a lot of us, if we have the privilege to have them off, which for me, in many years, I've worked extremely hard. And sometimes those holidays, it was the day that I couldn't work, or that I could, so I had to rest. And it's like, I needed those days, and so I appreciate them a lot. I really do. I especially like the autumnal holidays. I like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. Christmas is technically winter, but it's like right at the beginning of winter. And I love those holidays so much. And I do love the food of it, but I also love everything outside of it. And that's what I want you to consider. What about outside of that? Think about it, and try to fill it in. If there's an imbalance and you're only thinking about the food, I want you to fill it in with the other aspects, the other things that don't have to do with the food, to create balance. I just want you to be balanced about it, because food can be on too much of a pedestal. Because, of course, I have my Christmas foods that I'm going to be having this year. I have the Thanksgiving foods I'm going to be having. I talked about candy corn in the beginning. I'm going to honor those traditions, but it's with a balance and with a perspective and a calm. Be calm about it. If you're not going to track that day, then just don't worry about it and just get back on the next day, or whatever you need to do, depending on your journey. If you are going to track, then just track and be calm about it. Just be calm. Be calm. That's what I think needs to come through. And that calm cannot depend on everyone in your family being calm, because some of us do have toxic, ritualistic people in our family, and they're going to freak out and they're going to make comments and they're going to do all this stuff. And you can't let it get to you, because you don't have to go down those lines. You don't. Just because somebody else has it or somebody else is trying to reinforce you doesn't mean that you inevitably have to go into it. You don't. You can always say no to it, or you can always refuse to go along with it. And I know it can feel like you can't, but you can. And oftentimes, the person will back off if you just don't react. If it comes to that, if somebody makes a comment about your body and you have to be respectful to that family member, just don't react. Don't give them what they're looking for. They're often looking for some kind of a reaction or something to reinforce themselves. If you don't react, then eventually it'll die. They won't do it. They won't go to you anymore for reinforcement, So it's tough. I understand how hard it can be. I understand how impossible it can feel. But at the end of the day, you have to learn to deal with triggers. You have to learn to not, the whole point of recovery is to become normal about this stuff. That's what you want. And so it's like, oh, okay, that's a little harsh, or oh, I don't really want to hear this right now, or okay, and it's like, anyway, so da da da, that kind of thing. I think that could work,
That we view ourselves.
For our viewers and our listeners, we've decided that in figuring out how to keep the joy in the holidays for ourselves, we've come up with
A radar.
a radar,
scale.
a scale.
I like that.
A scale, if you will, of boundary setting. Boundary setting
gosh.
around the holidays, around the table, right? So we have
chapel boundaries. No, I'm just kidding. They wouldn't call it that.
from Rebecca,
Which will be our gentle,
our most gentle of
Yeah.
boundaries, to Alyssa,
which will be like a little bit of spice.
little sugar, little spice, everything nice, To Allie,
Which will be ice. Ice cold.
Oh, I'm
cold
burn it all
hearted.
down.
ice baby.
I mean, I just feel like
Well, Allie doesn't have to worry about it because she doesn't have any family anymore, as she said. Or she already got rid of all of them. Which, okay,
You set the boundary, and they're gonna know that they crossed
they're
it.
gonna
if they do
know
it.
they crossed that boundary.
Yeah, the boundary will be clear.
Yeah, because to be fair, it's not that I don't recommend using my tactic for someone that you haven't set a boundary with already. This is like my kind of meter is like, this is someone you've already communicated this with, and they're really just
yeah, Allie's a mean girl for sure. I can be mean too. I did talk about that. I have a video in my description about toxic ritualistic reinforcement where I gave certain examples with a similar scale of setting boundaries.
they're just
Not getting it.
it's time. It's time. Yeah. So, we're gonna do a little role playing for you guys because we want to send you into your holidays equipped, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you download the Hardee's app and join my
Scarred. We're probably only going to get into one because we're at 29 minutes. So let's see. Are you guys ready? Are you ready to get started? And then the next week there'll be a lot, which we'll need to in November because there's a lot going on with eating in November and December. So we're going to need to cover it next time for sure.
And
Yeah.
it's good practice.
Yeah.
I have for sure practiced saying some of these out loud.
I love that. I like to go off the cuff and just come up with the shittiest thing I can. No, I'm kidding.
I freeze up.
Yeah, I feel like you should say something to me, and I'll show one response, and you should say something to me, and I'll show another response.
That's absolutely what I'm going to do.
Okay. And there is no saying that any of these are the right responses.
No.
This was just a little toolbox.
Yeah. Let's start with just food because I feel like this is the easiest one. It's
Yes.
come up already. Let's start with reactions across the board for, oh, you're going back for a second plate already. What would you say?
Yep.
I would say, hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's what I would say. I'll offer my own perspective, too. You know it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yep.
Just yes.
Yeah. I love a short response and a long gaze.
Oh. Oh.
I love that. I love a short,
short
response and a long gaze.
gaze.
Somebody put that on a motherfucking t-shirt for me. I love a short response and a long gaze.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
All right, Alyssa. Oh, you're going back for seconds already?
Okay. Mine might be too spicy.
Spice
hear me out.
away. Dash,
Okay.
dash, dash.
Prompt me.
Oh, are you going back for a second plate already?
Yeah, I'm having a second plate just like you have a second marriage.
Damn it, that's exactly where I was going. I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh. We're going to finish this one and then we'll be done for today. But I don't know if they think like massively escalating things is like a good idea, but okay. I don't know about all that.
So much.
I mean, this is your family, so I'm just saying. I get like fighting with family, trust me. I get it. But it's like that on the list of things to elicit an escalation, that question is not that big of a deal. It's just not. It's very tame.
That one's good. Okay, I have one that's a little less spicy.
All right.
Okay.
Alyssa, just so that we're, everybody understands where we're at on the meter. Alyssa did jump to the Allie scale. So she's going to take it back down to the Alyssa
Yeah.
scale.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the second marriage, just as much as there's nothing wrong with the second plate.
Thank you.
Exactly. There's
I'm not
absolutely
here to shame.
No.
Okay. My more gentle response was like, "Are you watching me eat? Why are you so obsessed with me?"
No.
I love that
love
one.
that one.
I don't like that one. That one's gross. That's really cringe to me. But okay. I would just say, hell yeah.
I love that one.
That's my
I love that very
response.
much.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, shit, you already took my response.
Sorry.
So I need a new prompt.
Okay.
Okay. We're walking into the holiday.
Okay, we'll do the next prompt. We'll do more. I'm sure there's more to come next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I had a lot to say. I always do. I told you guys. So I'm going up in calories every Thursday. So I guess you guys can watch my evolution as I get out of this eventually. But I'm still in it quite deep. So the 30th, I'll be up 200 calories a day. So we'll see how I am next week. And then following Thursday, 300, etc., etc. So we'll go up. I'm going up 100 each week. So we'll see if I go back to sanity at some point. But I still am very diet culture vampire-y. Extremely so. And I go way too deep all the time. And it's driving me nuts. So it's kind of like... It's like I'm having a similar feeling of MSP where I feel like the dopamine is in the gutter and I'm not satisfied with anything. But rather than MSP, where all my concerns were extremely superficial and dumb, my thought processes are actually extremely deep and go way back like 10 years and stuff, like all the time. And it's driving me nuts. That's just been how I've experienced this. It's a different feeling. It's like the opposite in that sense. It's similar, but the opposite. So it's like it's a similar feeling of a lack of satisfaction, a restlessness, a lot of these kind of things. As I'm in this deep, deep deficit in the vanity weight era, but it's like it's all deep. So it's like I keep, especially for me, the avoidance piece is the hugest part, where I keep seeing this is why I was avoidant. This is why this is why that. And it's like, whoa, it's really, really deep and I'm dealing with it, which is very good to deal with. But it's like, that's where it's really, for me personally, that is really what has been front and center of this vanity weight experience on a spiritual level. So yeah, that'll be different for everybody for sure. If you are thinking super deep. Otherwise, maybe it's just a little bit grounding for you. Like if you're just kind of all over the place, you might feel a little bit more grounded. But it's wild. So anyways, I just wanted to explain that to you guys, anybody who's interested in what the hell is going on with me. But I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.